I don't know. I don't know why it is such a big thing. Money makes the world go round. I can understand that, but please, Sagorika, tell me, why are we all obsessed by it? Why do we need it? And why is it such an essential thing in life? Yeah, we all want to have a lot to do all the things we want to, but it just flies out of the window with nothing.
Exactly. That's why it's important. I've been struggling. I know, we've all got our struggles with money. And my thing is that I see so many girls and so many colleagues in the office. I've seen them before in other places that I've worked. I've had friends, and I've never seen them take as much of an interest in investment, savings, etc., as as should be common. And of course, some do. Some I really enjoy talking to. So these girls have also done it on their own. Studied on loans. They've been very particular about wanting to pay it back. And then they know, because once you have that in your mind, you know how hard it is to collect money, to be able to make those payments, and then to have something left over. So they're very smart with their money. Then I see a lot of people who essentially are just like, नहीं नहीं पापा संभाल लेंगे. I send money to my, and I've seen this with guys as well. One of the
Mm.
people that I knew, he started a startup, and then that startup eventually did not do well. He was kind of betrayed by his partner, so he had to go down. But it was very successful for the short while it was there. They had Amex as a customer, etc. Now, this person's parents were so against him having, the father was essentially like, you are kind of an idiot, you failed once, so I will take care of your money. And he was completely fine. So what he did was send over his salary to his father, and he got an allowance out of it. So I knew
Oh my
one girl like this and one boy like that. So not good when
Okay,
it.
guys. So this is our topic today. Welcome to Susanne and Zagorika's S Connection, and today's topic is money. Bet on the money, have the money, don't have the money. So yeah, investment. You're right. Investment is very necessary. Oh yeah, here, mera chai bhi hai.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to try. But yeah, so investments is something. So now that if I interact with people who are slightly more senior in their fields, they are certainly better versed with money. But if somebody's got experience and they're not really progressing in their jobs, they're just doing it for the sake of doing something, not particularly ambitious. Then I see that this is something very common. Like if you're not in a leadership position, most attitudes towards money are often like somebody starts earning, they get used to buying, especially in urban areas, not talking about the tier 2 cities. They start buying a dress worth 3,000 rupees, shoes worth, that one shoe worth 4,000 rupee. And then that one shoe becomes, array, this was actually 8,000. And then I got it on 4,000 the next month as well. So it's because you see so much money in your bank account, especially
Yeah.
if you're not paying too much of a rent, too high of a rent, and you have a lot of money. And it's completely fine if you can actually, if you're literate about how much you need to survive. A lot of these people are not saving for later on. They're not saving for retirement. They're not saving for an emergency like a job loss, something like that. Or
Yeah,
if
I
they
see
are,
that.
they don't
It's a
see.
my
They don't
line as well.
invest it.
Hmm.
Sorry.
It's a my line as well. It's a my line as well. When I was doing a show,
Right.
everybody was like,
Right.
buy a new car, buy a new car, buy a new car. And we're like,
Mm.
but then the EMIs, and we don't know how long this show will run. So we literally had people who bought
Right.
cars and then got stuck in the payments and couldn't, maybe not yet now in a show, but in general, it is the status symbol. You have to come in a big car, otherwise you're not being taken serious as an actor, this kind of thing. When you are entering the field, you need to show off, I'm already like established. I have a big car and I live in a certain area in town and I'm doing this and I'm
Mm.
doing that. So I see a lot of actors are living above their
Means.
pay, you know,
Mm.
maybe, or just hitting it. So you're
Mm.
making a good money in a short amount of time, but you don't know how long that money needs to stretch. You don't know how long, because you have one show, but that doesn't mean you get another show. It doesn't mean that
Mm.
you don't have a gap of 2 years. So you have to live off something. And You are so into this whole fame and money, and it won't stop. Yes, it can stop. It stopped for me. It can stop for you. It can stop for anybody. You never know when
Absolutely,
suddenly your
absolutely.
luck runs out. So in my line, it is even more than that because, or you said, no, salaried people can also lose their jobs.
Hmm. I mean,
How many
especially
people?
in this market, it's been bad.
How many people were in trouble with COVID?
Hmm.
Money wise, didn't have enough, couldn't
Yeah.
survive a year without income.
So I think I am talking about a particularly elite group of people, which, I think family wise also they might not have struggled. It's not a lower middle income family from before where they come from, so they might not know about how to, they might not have that in their minds. I see people booking. So for me, for people like us, I know my cousins, my sister, we will all book flights way in advance to be able to you just don't think of booking immediately because we can't afford it is something that's in our mind. Or if I book something, if I have to book something immediately, I know I'll have to freelance, I'll have to get extra money to make up this loss. That's always calculating in my head. But
Mhm.
for most people, you know if you're in a long distance relationship and your partner wants to meet you, and if you just book it immediately, or something goes wrong, something happens at home and it's not like an urgent situation, it's just like, oh, I can take this opportunity to meet, they just do it. And it's not, again, none of this is a negative, it's just different ways of being. So if you're not really stressed about money, you kind of live very impulsively, very spontaneously. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure that it's um, bad in any way, just that for the people who might need to be aware. So it's better to do all of this, have that fund for, if you want to take immediate measures at some point,
Mhm.
have that as a separate fund. This is for fun stuff, this is for emergency fund, whatever. You can have that planned as well. But that planning is not there. For a lot of people, it's just, oh, there's a lump sum sitting in my account, in my salaried account. That's all the money I have. So
Mm,
yeah,
it's too nice. It's too nice.
it
I
does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's out of the window because you don't understand. I mean, in the beginning, when you make money suddenly, for some time to go overboard is normal. I think for
absolutely.
some time it is happening. Even
Yeah,
if you're not wanting to do it, you go a little crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And but then there should be a sobering moment where you are sitting down in your understanding the necessity of saving some money, looking at mutual funds, looking at you know putting something to the side, especially here in India, put something to the side or have a life like a extra health insurance because a normal health insurance just takes you up to a certain level,
Absolutely.
right? And
Hmm.
then nowadays it has become so expensive. I hear constantly people are like having to sell their house for medical expenses and stuff like that. And that is not. This is not where you want to be. This is not where
Hmm.
you want to be. And then that pair of shoes and that dress won't mean anything anymore because you would have needed the money for something else.
That is so true. And I see this with men and cars as well. Sometimes men they buy much more than they need. So then I have friends who kind of splurge on shopping and shoes, and men, a lot of men. So again, this is a category of kind of elite people. So what happens is they know that they'll get married and it'll be a double income household, so they kind of save for a house. But a lot of the rest of the or they are paying emis of houses or cars or all of that, but then they kind of then live paycheck to paycheck because we all feel like we deserve it, we deserve better. But that's entitlement, no?
Hmm.
There's no such thing as deserve better, because life just comes at you as it does. It doesn't think about what you deserve or what you think you deserve.
Yeah, life
It
is
just
not fair to
comes.
anybody. Life is not fair to anybody.
Exactly.
If you look deeper, nobody is being saved. Just look at this explosion of this Titan submarine. They paid 250,000 per ticket to go down and see the Titanic wreck, and it just imploded. And I feel okay. Ah, crazy amount of money thrown out for some kick and thrill that you need to feel alive, or just to show that I can afford to do this. I don't know what the reason was behind it. It is just
I
sad, you
actually
know.
think differently on that. For that,
Can't
for
tell me.
something like that, it's not the money. It's the fact that the only breakthroughs in any history has always been, with people who are a little bit more crazy and are willing to take risks, big risks. Now, my only problem is that they ignored engineer warnings. That was the owner's fault. That was like a person who's a tourist will obviously, and there are so many scientific breakthroughs happening. What would make you think that this would not be possible? You're not the one talking to the engineer. There are people paying for space tourism. So I
Yeah,
don't think it's quite as. I think it's very thrilling to have those kinds of breakthroughs. But when it comes to safety, there should have been a much more rigorous check. That happens when I think if money has to play into it, there should have been regulations. Not just because somebody has so much money, it's unregulated and anybody could just go. So that should
yeah,
not
that is weird. I think that whole case was weird from
happen.
every angle because, and they're already searching for a new pilot. Have you seen the ad? They're already
Oh
searching
my
for a new
goodness,
pilot to.
no.
Yeah, like we have an opening.
Oh wow, that's crazy. That's like one of those Arctic explorations in 2 centuries ago, 1.5 centuries ago. So that's how it used to be. You lose your people and then you come back and say there's a vacancy. Uh,
I still think there is a certain kind of show off plus thrill seeking in it.
thrill seeking certainly.
I can
But then
understand what you mean, but in this case, it was just purely going down and being there. And then how many times James Cameron went down, and his submarine got even stuck down at the Titanic. But he went down because he was planning this movie. So
exactly.
I think if you are planning a movie, if you're planning something to do with it, just not to go and sightsee it because you can, there is no breakthrough in my opinion. But in other realms, definitely like space tourism is definitely something that these people are pioneers blasting themselves up there. It's like, okay, no, I will not pay for it and I will not be paid for it. Thank you, not doing it. But let's come back to the topic of money, what money can buy and money can't buy. Money can't buy happiness. Have you seen in your friends maybe that after they bought that dress and after they bought the shoes, the happiness about the purchase disappeared very fast?
I again, my thing is that money does buy happiness to a threshold, but things do not. Things do not necessarily buy happiness. So what you do with that money is important for me. If I am able to clear certain loans, if I'm able to do something for my family, that will make me immensely happy. It'll make me relieved actually, because that's kind of a pressure bubble I live. I think a lot of Indians do that, right? You want to do things for your family, and
Yeah, of
then
course.
have that settled thing. I'm sure you would, have plans with folks back home here as well. When you have money, you can do so much more, travel, do all of that.
Yeah. I got
But
them here one time and it was a big thrill. I got them here to India and it was
yeah,
an all expense trip and everything I was taken care of. And it gives you a
right.
certain kind of feeling of satisfaction that you were able to gift this to your family.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
But they do the
Absolutely.
same thing. So it's like it's a back and forth. And
Mm,
and another thing, if you have enough money, you can buy any kind of treatment. Yeah, if you are sick and you want to do something and you want to do an alternative treatment, what is not being covered by any kind of insurance, then yes, that money is great to have. It gives a kind of feeling of security when you don't have to count and calculate which insurance am I
absolutely.
having to open now, where do I have to take this money from, and
No, that's
yeah.
right. So, have you read about that billionaire who essentially tries to prolong his life? I found that very uh, I don't know, disconnected person. Not because he was doing all of that. The thing is, he divorced his wife because she had cancer, and he didn't want to be with someone who he had to look after. So if he wants to remain 18 forever, he literally wants to remain 18 in his head as well.
Yeah, or 16.
He wants to just be a showpiece and just be pretty for other people to admire. I don't even find him pretty, but he does. He finds himself pretty, I guess. So yeah,
But that plays again into the whole plastic surgery talk that we had in the last chat, this not being happy with who you are, and he's trying to
yeah,
attain
that's an
and to be.
extreme.
I think it
Definitely.
is going into that topic more than
Yeah,
to let's
yeah,
say
yeah.
he has the money. He has the money to
Right.
do it.
No, if you
Not being
haven't
able
watched that, please watch it here. This is the video we're talking about. But uh, definitely, it's the fact that he can. So he is trying all of this. I don't know, maybe his bubble bursts at some point. It just seemed very inhumane to be that kind of person who's seeking, maybe he could have placed as something scientific, something to help humanity later on, because he talks about all of these things that you
yeah.
can do it by these things, whatever, these methods. And then you turn from trying to help humanity to not even wanting to help your wife. Seriously, what is the money worth?
Uh, Not much. It reminds me of these people who also have like their bodies frozen into some Cairo.
Cryopreservation.
I don't know. They have their body
Cryopreservation.
frozen and they're
Cryopreservation.
thinking that
Mm.
this goes against anything that any Hindu is
Mm.
believing. Like, अरे यार मेरा body kahi hai.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I find this like
yeah.
really weird. That you even babies.
It's a good topic, actually. The idea that Hinduism is completely okay with death, with accepting death. We have a deity for death, and he's the same deity as for balance, which is dharma. So that's an interesting topic. We don't care about, or we shouldn't, at least if as a practicing Hindu, be caring only about the body and how it can be preserved or whatever. So but yeah, on today's topic in terms of money, with regards to things, this is the problem that I see, that people do spend on things. And one other thing that I've noticed is a lot of these people are also the kind of people who have to live away from their homes, away from a sense of community. Do you think that that would drive it? If you were living in, say, a place where you're comfortable, you wouldn't be looking to go out and splurge on drinking every weekend or
Yeah,
buying all of these things,
definitely.
right?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because I just out of my own experience, I used to live in South Korea and I was alone at that time, and I definitely spent a lot of money on stuff that I
Oh,
didn't need, because I was just going out and shopping. Shopping became something to do because you don't have anything else to do. You're just in this bubble in
mm.
this life, and was very far away from my family. And at that time, a phone call was costing hundreds and hundreds of
Oh, yeah,
euros, or actually
right.
Deutschmark at that time. So it was not possible to talk to mom more than like a few minutes every couple of weeks, and there was a complete disconnect if you're so shut off. It's the same kind of phenomenon when you are alone, that you like guzzling more into your phone, like you're more attached to your phone. So
Oh,
I think
absolutely,
that's
Suzanne. That's so
it's like
correct.
it's an evasive thing. You're evading your life. Either you go shopping, or you drink, or you have food, or you watch TV, or you are in your phone. And I've done that. I've done that countless times.
Right. No, I think a lot of people find it very hard to just keep their phones away in any conversation. So I have a very good friend comes over. I am talking. It's like things go here, and the phone is. And I'm like, that is so rude. I have to keep it's not just me, other friends also find keep telling him that no, stop it, stop. He is so addicted. And when he goes home, not responding to messages, nothing. He respond in 2 days. And I'm like, see, this is just, you're so bored with life away from family that you're addicted to your phone. So I think you're very right that they guys replaced one addiction with the shopping addiction with, but in terms of taking care of money,
Yeah.
do you have experience with, investing, compounding, saving, all of those basic ideas?
Yeah, the thing is, as an actor, I always have every time I'm getting a project, I'm trying to take a certain amount and really, really like a lot, put it to the
Right.
side, because I have these huge gaps in
Ah,
between. Because as a foreigner, I don't get continuous roles. I had like a few years back, but the amount of money that you're making is looking like it's a good amount of money. But then you're paying taxes and you pay your manager and you pay this and that, and suddenly not much is left. And then from that, you have to calculate what is your monthly expense, and then you just calculate maybe for the next 1.5, 2 years, I'm not gonna have any money. But last year, my neighbor and my friend, she got me into the stock market.
Ah,
So I was having a small amount of money, and I was just like working with that, not making a lot, but learning. Like I watched these finance videos, and she told me who to listen to, and reading the news about the stock market, and going around the city and saying, "Acha, I have that stock. Oh yeah, or I saw that one was going up." You see the world suddenly through a very completely prism. I mean, maybe you don't have to invest in it, but having a look at the stock market, how it is working together with the politics and how it's working together with lifestyle and everything, it is very interesting, and it has given me a bigger knowledge, a bigger understanding how things are working together. Like when this report came out in America,
Hindenburg
Hindenburg
report, yes.
report, and how our market reacted to it, then how it recovered from it. So I went through all of this and I looked at all of this, and I could see how it's rebounding, how these news can affect the market, and how good news can also affect the market. And what you're predicting is not necessarily what will happen. So it was a good experience. Otherwise, it's the typical life insurance saving thingy, and gold bonds, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
No, that's very interesting. This is what I enjoy. I love women talking about investing and stocks and trading and all of that. So, have you traded or have you invested? Have you done any day trading, swing
it was
trades?
it was intraday trading.
Oh,
What
wow.
what became longer because of this whole Hindenburg thing. I was really doing pretty well, doing like this Subsika Pese,
Uh-huh.
JPI. So I
Right.
was like really happy with that because a little 100, 500, 400 was coming. But to make that money, you need like more,
Capital.
because
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
have to have capital to buy the stock, and when you're selling it, then that difference is coming to you. So even if you're just making, you need maybe 30,000 to make 700. That could be the thing.
No,
And
absolutely. Absolutely.
some stocks are so highly valued that I don't even consider them. I'm just like, no, you're out of my
But
can't afford you. Like Nestle or something like that. That's crazily expensive. That's over.
MRF,
Yeah, they're
I
very
think.
expensive.
Yeah. But
And
yeah,
so I was doing that, and because of the Hindenburg thing, I couldn't do it, and now slowly it is recovering, and I'm doing a little bit here and there. And,
right. I haven't really done a lot of intraday trading, but yeah, I do invest as well and swing trade sometimes. But it's always the kind of fear that permeates the regular mind of youngsters. I have a friend who quit his day job and Touchwood is making like tons of money with very low risk intraday trading
Mhm.
because he went through the whole process. He took courses, he did paper trades, then he um, started doing day trades with less capital, and then he increased it over the course of I think 3 years. Fourth year, he quit. He was making money every day and low risk. You have high
Mhm.
capital but low risk, and
Yeah.
he kept making money, and that compounds, right? You're making that money every single day. So
Mm.
these are things that, especially, I think the Indian market is very, while it is volatile, it's a good market at this time. I don't know
It's
if you can
really good
make that
market.
exactly. So I keep thinking that a lot of NRIs who are settled abroad should invest some amount of money in India because the way that
There is
grows.
money. There is money from them. There is money in the
Yeah.
market. And every time there's bad news and they're pulling it out, you can feel it.
Those
Like,
are that's true. You know why? Because the taxes are so high that they have gone to Singapore and Dubai to settle because there's no taxes there, and then they trade here. Those are the high net worth individuals.
a lot
So
of doctors are trading. A lot of doctors are trading, and they're very
wow,
knowledgeable. they're helping each other, and they're like WhatsApp
Oh,
groups where
that's
all these couples
brilliant.
are inside, and they're giving each other the information, and that's a whole world that completely exists that you're not aware of if you haven't heard about it. So it's a very interesting thing, stock market in itself. It's like a whole topic in itself.
No, no,
But
I absolutely enjoy that topic. I want to ask you, why do you think that people are scared of it?
the risk factor. They think I think a lot that the market runs on emotion. So I think a lot of times people are overreacting, and I'm the most comfortable when my stock is down, because then I know it will recover again. I'm getting nervous when I don't know when to sell, because I
Oh
have
my
to.
God. I, I,
I
I,
never know. I'm like, what's my target price? I'm getting nervous when it is hitting my buying price and it's getting above, because I sold like Axis Bank. I was so happy because it went from 911 to 947. I was like, yes, that's a good amount of money. It will not go higher. At 982 today. And I was like, hmm. So these kinds of things you have to be able to. It's a lot of psychological thing. The more
absolutely.
relaxed you are, and you only play with the money that you don't need. If it is not
Who
hurting
needs
you,
three pairs of shoes worth 5,000?
then you can definitely buy stock for 5,000. You can
Exactly.
buy.
Buy 15,000 worth of one stock. And frankly, I think I will learn from you offline. I'm definitely coming for lessons because I'll tell
Woohoo! I'm a
you.
baby.
So
I'm a
I
baby.
have some insight into a couple of stocks. And so I bought Mazgaon and that did really well. Mazgaon Dock
Hmm.
shipyard. And it was stuck at this place and I was like, go up. And then suddenly like went
Yeah, you
4x
never know when
in
it does.
less than 6 months or something, and that was fun. So
And
then
it
my
also gives you a kick. It gives you a kick. You feel like, oh, I've cheated the system. That
but
kind
there's
of
a
a
lot of
feeling.
threats as well. But the thing is, investing is not as risky. Like people shouldn't be feeling that investing is risky. So it's not just the stock market, even mutual funds. I've had
Yeah,
people ask me about mutual funds, and it's just so easy. Today, like you just get an app on your phone, do a KYC, and then you have set up an SIP. That's it. The money
yeah,
just goes out when it comes in, right? That time it
yeah,
just goes
yeah,
out automatically. You don't have to click a button. So
yeah.
why is that something that people are risk averse to? I know
I
a
think
huge population has started, but a lot of them
I think a
haven't.
lot of people are just worried and are scared about the topic in itself. When you're coming from a certain background, when maybe from your childhood onwards, that money was a topic, money was maybe thought about at home, money was a big trigger. You're not seeing it clearly. You don't see it detached from your psyche. Money is so meshed up with our feelings, with who we are, what is going on with us. We cannot logically decide on how to use money and what to do with money, because what you're doing with it is automatically your reward or your punishment. Depending on if you can spend it, it's a reward. If you can't have it, it's a punishment. And I want to also one time get something. Yeah, but if your financial situation is not like that, you can't do it. So somebody who's coming from a background that was very painful, and children who have seen their parents fight about money, I think those people are risk adverse. And any time where they are being told you take some of that money and you invest it somewhere, I think they're just getting like fluttery and they're reacting emotionally, not logically. They're not thinking, they're just reacting emotionally.
I've seen this with people whose families are actually quite well off, so they never needed to do anything. They just did not
Hmm.
need to bother about money because it would be given. So when they become independent, when they kind of start working, they follow the same process. They take the money, they take a part of it, give it to their families. Now, that's not a problem. See, one thing is that senior citizens, if your parents are senior citizens, you can book an RD in their name or something, you get a higher interest.
Yeah.
Or you give your parents money, maybe you don't understand the real estate market and they invest it for you. The thing is, most of these people have no idea what their parents did when they need. So it's a given thing that parents कि जब जरूरत पड़ेगी तब मिल जाएगा. शादी होगी तब दे देंगे. You are not in control of how much money out of that you want spent in the wedding. Like it's a lump sum, right? Whether they contribute, whether you contribute. Kitna gaya. Then when you need it, they'll be like, or siblings or anybody who, it's not just family, and I'm not blaming anybody here. It's just that you don't have that sense of control. That हाँ हमने तो 10 लाख दे दिए थे उसमें. You do not agree to that maybe, or you don't know if it's that
Hmm.
money that you saved up for so long, if that's what you wanted to spend.
Reminds me of somebody who got a property. The brother bought a property and she hated the property
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
because she's not in the country. She couldn't see it, and he was just buying it, and it's weird. Okay, that's another thing. But that giving money to your parents to invest, to your brother to invest, that kind of thing, I never heard in Germany,
Right,
by the way.
exactly.
Because this reminds me of a story that I saw on Charlotte Dobray's channel, where they were talking about where this girl was saying, they asked me, she married an Indian guy, and they asked me to give like, they're upset that my salary is not going into their joint account. And she
Mm.
couldn't, she's like, it's my money. I'm earning it. It should be in my account. Why should I give it to my parents in laws? Like, she was completely upset. The whole Western world agreed with her. And I was like, yeah, okay. Cultural differences, it's a very different world.
Do you agree with her side, or do you think that Indians have it wrong in this situation?
I think they have to figure it out what to do because she is right from her point of view and he's right from his point of view.
Right. I think there is a sense of dependency that is not very dependable because, considering that you have to have some, what is the point of being independent if you can't even spend your own money? You can have a portion of it given to joint accounts. Both of you are giving to joint accounts. But
Yeah.
why are the girl's parents not getting any of his pay? They're not getting it. So why should her money go into his parents' money,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
That does not seem fair
If
at
it was
all. That's
supposed
very
to
weird.
it was very superficial, so I don't know the details.
Right.
It was just like one of these stories where they were talking
No,
about, and
this
I
is
don't.
this is actually common. It's not just her story. It's not because she's a foreigner. It's a common idea that his parents' upkeep will be managed by her, but her
Hmm.
parents' upkeep will be managed by her brother and his wife,
Hmm.
maybe. That
Hmm.
makes it very unequal because then you are forced to then get that son, and that becomes a whole social issue, right? So in terms of money, I think this is something that couples need to be talking about. This is much more common abroad. That you can actually, it's not that common abroad, but yeah, money is something that does cause a lot of divorces. That's one of the highest causes of divorces is money. One is children, one is money. But yeah, in the West, that's something that makes a difference, and that's something that we should be aware of.
That's a crazy notion to get divorced because of money.
Yeah.
I just know there was this time when a friend of mine, her boyfriend, then fiance husband, she didn't know how much money he's making. She didn't know, like she was living with him and she didn't know how much money he's making. Like he knew what she's making, but he was
Oh.
not like they were living together, having a household and everything, and she didn't know how much money is actually there in the bank for some time. Then it got sorted. But it was kind of like because she was so young, she didn't understand that she needed to know this. At some point, it would be good to know it. But if you're just 19, 20, you're kind of like, la, li, la,
Yeah,
loo,
yeah, that's okay.
you know.
Right. Yeah, I think when it comes to thinking about marriage, that's when it's like super important. So, but that actually reminds me. This is from maybe 8 years ago. I was at a friend's sister's wedding, and one of his cousins, uh, they were very wealthy people, big, typical Punjabi family, very wealthy. It was like God, I was like in this plain black and green sari, and like soup. I think it cost 300 rupees, and they were all like Karan Johar's film set. So that was it was like stepping into a Bollywood movie. It was quite interesting, but folks were discussing this one girl who was turning 30 that year. She seemed very smart, okay, very self-assured, smart girl. Uh, she was making 18 lakhs 8 years ago while turning 30. That was a
Good.
big sum. They did not, the family was not getting matches. So I asked, why is she not marrying somebody of her choice? So apparently she tried, and they weren't against a marriage of their choice or anything. She tried, she just wanted to go the arranged marriage route. It was her choice completely. Now, they weren't finding enough matches that were okay with her making that sum. I mean, she was okay with them making less money, but they were
Yeah.
not okay with her making more money. So eventually, they were wondering if, they were not wondering, they had decided that they would lie. And then in a few months' time, she'd, come there with saying that, she got a promotion and now she earns this much. And I thought, how do you start a relationship on the basis of a lie? You don't know this person, and the first thing that when you're discussing, it's a lie. How insecure does a person have to be to not be okay with somebody making more money? There's more
I
things to
say, yeah, thank
have.
you. This is great. We just have some more in the bank.
Yeah.
It's great that we're making more money. Ah,
I did not hear about, I don't know how long that went on for. Hopefully, she found someone who was decent and all that. But it was very shocking to me. Like, it was something that would not happen. That would probably never happen in my family. That would not happen in a lot of other people's families,
I
especially with women
know.
being a lot more aware and all that. I think they would
Yeah.
not want to start things on the basis of lies. So, yeah, that was very surprising to me.
Yeah, lying is never a good idea to start a relationship, especially
Exactly.
as we are in this whole thing here with arranged marriages and everything. Yeah.
So that was surprising. But yeah, money does play. So that's why money plays a big role in relationships. And
Yeah, yes.
actually, I've seen it across social strata. Like, whether it's the cleaning lady, whether it's the cook, I've seen them, discuss money, and it's different. It's certainly different, but a lot of relationships depend upon that. So, yeah, I think it's a very serious topic. I don't think it's given enough attention in the day to day. I don't know if is it an Indian thing. I know there's a lot. I listen to a lot of financial influencers because I love the subject. It's not because I want money. I think I'll listen to it forever. God willing, I will have money at some point, but I think I'll still listen to them because some of the more authentic people, they tend to have respect for it. And I think some communities in India also do that. They approach things with a lot of respect for it. And some people do it individually. Like one of my friends, he took a 6 month break. And at that time, I know we weren't earning all that well. 6 month break at home, and he was able to use his savings. Like, I know a lot of things at home are paid for, but he had enough set aside because he did not go out with us on the weekends. He just went home to Kerala, from Bangalore to Kerala, take a bus, go, and
Okay.
nothing else. No going out, no lunches, no dinners. And he didn't, it's not like he craved it. He had enough of a sense of community at home. So he had 6 months worth of, he searched for the best job possible, got a huge, huge hike, nicely chilling.
Mm. That
Exactly. So,
reminds me, I saw this whole thread on Twitter where somebody was saying they asked the person on his application how much he's making, and he was making 5 lakhs. Yeah. Now they wanted to hire him for a higher job where he would have made 18. Yeah. So the whole discussion inside the company was like, no, we should give him not 18, even though that's the job, and he would be actually, he's supposed to earn 18. We should just give him like 8 or something like this from the 5, because the increase would be too much. And the person who wrote the tweet, he was saying, no, we will give that money that is connected to the job to this person, because got the qualifications. This is the amount of money that we're spending for this job. This is the job that makes this much money. It doesn't matter what the person made before. And he got that job and he got that money and he thought it's a typo when he got the
oh,
offer.
yes,
Just
yes, yes.
imagine somebody who makes 5.4 suddenly gets an offer for 18. I think that he must have gone like, yeah, because if you already have budgeted this, then what is your logic of saying first we will cut you, like, because you made 5 prior, we will not increase. They
That's an
offer.
issue with pay transparency. Like in general, there is a lot of talk about it. I know in the US there's a lot of talk about pay transparency, but in India we severely lack it. I know there are like two situations. One is that the same thing happened to my colleague, a teammate, very, very high performer. And he got double what he was making. He did not expect it while interviewing, so that was good for him. Another thing is, there was a fight because two people who joined together, they were being friendly, finding things out about the system itself. While discussing it, she mentioned her salary. This man got severely angry, went up to managers, and then she got hauled over coals for it because, why are you discussing salary? She mentioned it because he asked.
Yeah.
And they were new, and this was something to be kept within themselves. But so yeah, I think pay transparency is extremely important, and it is not performance oriented. It is dependent on very opaque factors, and one of those factors is how much did you earn previously. How is that related to the job I'm doing now?
That was a whole discussion under the tree. Why is your prior pay related to what you are
It's a
supposed to do
bad
now?
HR practice, very unethical, and you're not saving anyone any money. The company has already budgeted that. The company actually has enough money. It's giving somebody their livelihood, what the job that they're doing, whatever is worth that job, is not going to take away from what the company has saved. And this is something, a few days ago, Ankur Waraku, one of the influencers, so to speak, he speaks on many subjects, but he had mentioned this over a tweet thread as well, that in his company they were looking at somebody who was not making that much. They were hiring for 14, and the discussion was, should we give it to him? Because why not? Because that's the job, that's what he will be expected to contribute to. He's going to be working worth 18 lakhs or 14 lakhs in this case.
Yeah,
So then give him the 14 lakhs and then expect that much worth of work, right?
yeah,
So
that's
otherwise, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Money is just something that is, like you said, makes the world go round. So we can keep talking about it. It's so
Yes, we
interesting.
could, but
Yeah.
I
Um,
think.
I'm coming to you for the trading lessons.
And everybody who's just shopping, just look at your clothes that you have in your cupboard and decide if it was worth it to buy. Whatever you're having there, was it worth it? Are you still having joy out of it? And before you buy something new, just sit on your butt and think about it. Will this really make me happy? Because it is just it's a small thrill. After two, three times you wore it, and then it's already you consider it old, and then you
I
want the
think it's the
next one.
first time you wear it, it's gone. It's all done. It's just
Yeah.
another thing in the cupboard. So somebody I was watching said that the anticipation of buying something is much more, the joy of that anticipation, the dopamine hit that arrives is much bigger
Really?
than the hit that happens when you receive it. When you paid for it, when you receive it, is actually lower. You're less happy than when you were thinking of buying it. So you can keep something in your cart for 24 hours. That's supposed to be an easy way to save money, right? You
Yes,
keep it.
that explains it. I do a lot of window shopping, you know. I look at
Right.
stuff. I'm not really planning on buying it. I'm just looking at it. And then my mom is doing the same thing. And when my mom and my dad go, my dad keeps on saying, "You like this? Buy it. You like this? Buy it." And she's like, "No, I just want to have, I just want to have a look." I think that that's a certain dopamine that's maybe only women are getting. You know, the anticipation of buying it because it is not. It's like neither Akhil nor my dad are into the anticipation dopamine hit. They're
My
not
dad
really.
is, no, not the anticipation, but my dad shops a lot more than mom. But
Oh,
more, a couple of my colleagues, the male colleagues that I was talking about, they
yeah.
have new clothes every day. By the way, this dress is a hand me down from somebody who came from the US. It was her dress. Some neighbor 15, 16 years ago. I don't know, a really long time. When I was just coming out from school, I think. So yeah, 15, 16 years ago. They came over and, asked. I think that was much older. This is probably 20 years that I have had it. And
Well,
they have had it for, like, this is a second hand dress that is 20 years old for me only. So I don't know how old this actually is. So yeah, I mean, you can always, I don't, we all, at least in India, we've grown up wearing cousins' clothes or sisters or something like that.
Then if that is a common thing, then why are second-hand shops not working? I see again and again that this whole system is coming where you're trying to you wear a designer piece or you have this really pretty kurta and you don't want to wear it anymore. It's still nice enough, and you're trying to resell it, and that's not happening. It's not working like it does in Europe.
No. No, so second hand does not work because this is more from a knowing perspective. Indians are very, very particular about that sense of hygiene and personal space. So I
Mm.
know looking at the chaotic crowds in India, that might not come across, but we don't put clothes on from strangers. So
Mm.
it's something that's very ingrained. I don't think it can be taken out. You don't know what that piece of clothing or that item or that car or anything has gone through. Even houses resale now, a lot of things are driven by economics. Of course, resale value is better for houses and cars, so people do buy it lived in. But if someone can afford to, then they always go in for the new one. Especially what happens is if you're wearing a nice thing that's secondhand, you probably purchase it for 6,000 and then you're selling it for 2,500. It's a great deal. But for the person who can afford 2,500, they'd rather buy, two new clothes for
A new
2,500.
one. A new
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I can
So that's
understand
the
that.
thing. So I
I thought
think
it's an energy
that
thing as well, that you don't
that
want to
energy
get
is
rid of
why,
energy. Yeah.
yes, that's the main reason that you don't wear. But yeah, this is like, in the family and all that. So it's pretty common, I think. But we grew up like that. I think now with the disposable income being quite high, which is good, which is great actually. But that disposable income needs to be, I think, channeled. Again, I think this goes back to a lack of purpose, which we discussed on our first video. I think that lack of purpose creates a sense of emptiness, and then you
Mm.
try to fill that up. That needs to be
Yeah.
channeled. Like, why don't we find our purposes and then put some capital towards it? That's how entrepreneurs are made. So yeah, yeah. Business, real estate, gold, mutual funds, these are like mutual funds or other investments. Now, health insurance, life insurance, they're hardly investments. They're more like necessities that one needs. So
Just in
that's
case.
like
Okay.
liabilities bucket is better suited for them. But yeah, these are assets that one can purchase. You have so many under ADC, I think ADD as well, the post office things and
That's
digital gold.
great. Yes.
This
There's a lot of things. It's just I scared to touch it or even feel like it's a boring topic. Money is a boring topic.
No, money is not boring. What you can do with money is extremely
Not for
interesting.
us, but talking about people in general, it's
Yeah, yeah,
way
I know, you don't mean me.
more
You. Yeah.
it's way more exciting to go out, buy a dress or a handbag than to think about mutual funds and invest.
Mm. No,
It's not
absolutely.
sexy. Um,
We need to make it sexy, right? It should be sexy to
yeah,
talk about money.
especially for women because they're still
Especially
lagging
for
behind.
women. It's absolutely, especially for women. I think a lot of people are held back by because if we consider what happens with different socioeconomic strata, there are, especially in certain states, there are many women who are the sole breadwinners. They go home, they are
Hmm?
beaten by alcoholic husbands. The money
Yeah,
goes to them. They don't have enough. And the child is completely her responsibility. So his schooling, his uniforms, his textbooks, her extra classes, there are no extra classes. But even the most basic things are on the mother. She has
yeah.
nothing. They just come, beat them up for money, take the money, go and drink again. That's it. Play cards under the trees. You will see this. That's why Anna Hazare's movement and some model in creating that model village was such a great hit. Uh, Things are changing. The more the economy grows, and I think India is, the I think there's a few ways to do finances that make economics that make things a little more equitable. So for example, Lichat Papar is a great example. Amul of cooperatives doing very well, and Lichat was a
Hmm.
woman run cooperative, so I think that's a huge deal. And I think these things bring in a lot more equitability to how money is spread around society. It should reach the people who struggle with it most.
Who need it? Who need it? Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So there's different ways to go about economics of it, but yeah, the money is important. So if you look at what happens to these people, we cannot ignore the fact that every person, every individual man or woman needs to have a certain amount of understanding about where their money is going, what they want to do with it. And it's good if you want to join your finances, it should be a proper choice. So
Yeah, it should be because money is also dignity. If you don't have money, you don't,
yes.
you know, it gives you independence, gives you dignity, it gives you food and clothes and everything. So, if you like this, please just leave a comment in the comment section and subscribe to either of our channels,
Both of our channels, why not?
both of our channels.
Yeah, we do talk shows and podcasts, and we hope you like this. Thanks for joining. Until next week, see you.
Bye.